G'day everyone, I am BlueBlaze, and the end of 2022 is quite near. Many games came out this year, and I must say I barely played any of them, whether it be because I could not afford them or they just didn't pique my interest personally. However, I did start playing some older games. Therefore, for the end of year celebration, I decided to put together a ranking of my top 5 games I either started this year or really begun to play after picking them up briefly sometime over the previous years. Please note that these are my opinion and other games I personally played this year, you know what I mean. With that out of the way, I shall get into my top 5 games I played this year. Number 5, Splatoon 2. Being a uni student who uses most of his money to be able to eat and pay rent, I had to pick and choose between the games I wanted to buy this year. Therefore, when Splatoon 3 came out and I started to get excited for it, mainly through watching streams of the game, instead of buying it with my little money that I had, I went back and for the first time played through Splatoon 2's campaign. I had owned Splatoon 2 for multiple years at that point, although not playing it that much, only really a multiplayer match every now and then. However, after Splatoon 3 and the excitement generating around it, I thought I would give the campaign a try. And I ended up quite enjoying it. Originally, after watching all the trailers back when it came out, I was not too keen on the campaign's appearance and decided not to play the first games either. However, after playing it, I found it somewhat reminded me of Portal and Portal 2 in a strange way, as if every puzzle was a new test of mechanics and all that sort of thing. I ended up very much enjoying it, and it has become 5th on this list. Number 4, Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax, another game I had previously owned for some time. This is the game that Crossing Void pulled most of its characters and animations from. As I am not a big traditional fighting game fan, I was fairly reluctant to play this, merely owning it for the novelty of seeing Crossing Void's origins. However, after the shutdown of said game at the end of October, I decided to go back and give it a full shot, sticking with it until I worked out how to properly play it. And now I quite enjoy it. It has taken on Crossing Void's role as a game that I play daily, and once I finished all the content, I plan to move on to the enhanced version, Fighting Climax Ignition. Like with Crossing Void, I enjoy the sense of celebration it gives to the characters and their worlds. Although lesser represented overall, it has become a fairly large game for me, and I feel I must say I'm quite happy about it. Number 3, Celeste. Being the first indie game I had completed on this channel, I feel I can say that Celeste is one of the best 2D platformers I have personally played. Filled with many puzzles and difficult platforming, I feel the game tells an exceptional story about matters related to many people around the world currently. And the production values it encompasses to achieve this story are well up there with many bigger games in my opinion. Celeste is an amazing game, and is quite easily number 3 in my ranking of games this year. Number 2, YuGiOh Master Duel. One game that took me by surprise this year is YuGiOh Master Duel. I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh games for many years, including the PlayStation 1 game back when I was younger. Growing up with both Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh in my life, I feel I have always slightly leaned towards Yu-Gi-Oh, in particular 5Ds and Zexal, as they were the two that were on when I was younger and I was watching them as they aired. To this day, I use a Junk and Stardust Synchro base deck, as that was my favourite in 5Ds. Even with this and the many hours I've put into Duel Links, this game seemed to come out of nowhere for me, suddenly appearing on my Steam news page when opening it up one day. Whilst the game is missing some features and a fair amount of fan service that Duel Links and Legacy of the Duelist provide, I personally feel the overall gameplay is the most pure, and the feeling of an overhead duel is exemplified with the new customization and graphical abilities. It is a game I feel I am quite excited to see evolve into the future over the next few years. And now, before number 1, some honourable mentions that I have. YuGiOh the Kangaroo Round 2 is another game I played on the channel, and a game I used to pick up briefly all the time as a kid. I am glad I have finally finished it and quite enjoyed it. Another game from Incredible Indies, Grow Home was perhaps the indie game I was most excited to play for the series, as I always liked the look of it when I was younger. However, personally, whilst I found it fun for what it was, I felt as if it were lacking something to push it up to its full potential. I'm hoping the sequel can deliver that, however the game was quite fun by itself anyway. Untitled Goose Game is a game I always liked the look of back when it released in 2019. However, it was with the multiplayer side of things and a friend that I started playing this year. However, not having finished it yet, I cannot really give my full opinion on it. My brief thoughts are that the game is quite funny and I am really enjoying it thus far. If I had started playing Nier Automata at an earlier date, it might be on this list. However, I had been waiting for a portable version to come along for a fair amount of time. This year, my hopes were answered with a Switch port, one that appears to work quite well. However, as I was busy with other games after it came out, I had not started until very recently with it, having only finished the tutorial by the time of writing. Therefore, whilst I think it was fun, I am not far enough through to talk about it. And with the honourable mentions out of the way, I shall move on to... Number 1. Sonic Frontiers. Anyone who's been watching me over the last few months is probably aware of my admiration of the game, as I've done 3 videos on it around the time and after a release. Therefore, I won't go into much detail here. However, even with a fair amount of problems, the game has been my favourite to play this year, and I am excited for the future story DLC in the coming year. Alrighty, that was my top 5 games I played this year. I quite enjoyed this year in terms of games, and I am excited for the next one. I understand everyone's opinions are different, and I would not mind hearing other rankings in the comments. However, for now, I believe that is all from me. I hope everyone enjoyed the video, thank you for watching, and I shall be back in the next one. Cheers everyone, and happy holidays. I hope everyone has a great new year.